2 winters ago, I was home alone on a snowy Saturday night. My parents had gone out of town, and my brother was staying with a friend. It was one of those storms where the snow absorbs every sound. The neighborhood was dead quiet. I curled up on the couch with a blanket and a hot chocolate, scrolling through TikTok. Around 11 p.m., the house heater clicked off. The silence was sharp. Then, from the basement, I heard it. A voice. At first, I thought it was the pipes creaking, or the storm playing tricks on me. But no, it was distinct. A man's voice, low and mumbling. It was too muffled to make out the words. I tiptoed to the basement door and pressed my ear against it. The voice stopped. I almost convinced myself it was nothing. But as I turned to go back, I heard it again. Louder this time. A single word, clear as day. Help. I bolted upstairs and locked myself in my bedroom. My hands were shaking as I called the police. I told them I thought someone was in my basement. While I waited, I sat against the door, holding a heavy lamp like a weapon. I kept hearing faint noises below. Not footsteps exactly, more like shuffling. The officers arrived within 10 minutes. They searched the basement thoroughly. What they found still makes my skin crawl. There was no intruder, but the small basement window had been broken inward. They led to the far corner, where someone had curled up against the wall. There was a blanket there, and empty water bottles. Police said it looked like someone had been squatting in our basement for days. A week later, my parents told me the man was found. He was a homeless man with untreated schizophrenia. He had been in and out of shelters, sometimes living in strangers' basements or sheds during storms. They didn't charge him with burglary. He was taken to a psychiatric facility instead. Knowing he wasn't violent should have made me feel better, but the thought of him whispering "help" while I sat in my warm house upstairs still haunts me. I was 17, the first time I truly realized how vulnerable being home alone could make you feel. It was a Friday night in early fall. My parents were at a dinner party across town, and my little sister was sleeping over at a friend's house. I remember how quiet the house felt once they left. Even the fridge's hums seemed louder. I had a bowl of microwave pasta, a half-empty can of Coke, and my phone on the coffee table. I was watching reruns of the film series The Office. Around 9, I paused the TV to grab more food from the kitchen. That's when I heard it. 3 knocks. Not from the front door, but from the sliding glass door in the back. At first, I thought maybe it was the wind rattling something, or maybe one of our neighbors, but the sound was deliberate, rhythmic, so close. My stomach dropped. I didn't want to look, but I forced myself to glance through the dark kitchen towards the back door. There it was, a tall man standing completely still. His outline was clear against the porch light. He didn't move. He just stood there with one hand pressed against the glass. I froze. My body didn't even feel like mine. Then he spoke.
"Let me in."
It wasn't shouted. I stumbled back. My first instinct was to call my dad, but my hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped my phone. I dialed 911 instead. The dispatcher's calm voice kept me grounded. She told me to stay on the line, move upstairs if I could, and not to confront the man. I crept up the carpeted stairs, careful not to let them creak. But halfway up, I heard the sliding glass door handle jiggle, metal scraping against metal. He was trying to get in. I whispered into the phone, "He's at the door. Please, hurry." The dispatcher said officers were minutes away, but minutes felt like hours. Suddenly, silence. No more handle noises, no more knocks, just silence. I crouched at the top of the stairs, gripping a baseball bat I kept in my room. My heart was beating so loudly, I swore he could hear it. Then, faintly, I heard the sound of shoes on gravel. He was moving around the house. The dispatcher told me not to look out the windows, but I couldn't help myself. From the bedroom, I peeked through the blinds. He was there, walking slowly alongside the house, his face tilted upwards, like he was searching for a window I might be behind. I ducked back. Then, red and blue lights. Knock at the front door. Louder and sharper. Please. By the time officers searched the backyard, the man was gone. They said it looked like he tried the back door and one of the basement windows, but nothing was broken. They stayed until my parents got home. We filled a report, but they never caught him. For weeks, I barely slept. Every creak in the house makes me uneasy. Even now, years later, if I hear knocking at night, my chest tightens. I never saw his face clearly, just that silhouette, just that voice. I was 19, living at home while commuting to community college. One afternoon, my parents both had work late, and I decided to stay in, finish some homework, and then maybe game for a bit. The house was quiet, too quiet. Even the neighbors' kids weren't outside that day. I was halfway through a history essay when I heard the front door shut. I froze. No one else had the key except my parents. I called out, "Mom?" No answer. Footsteps. Slow, heavy footsteps crossing the hardwood entryway. My chest tightened. I slipped off my chair without making a sound and tiptoed into my room. I locked the door and pressed my ear against it. The footsteps moved down the hall, stopping and starting again. They were checking each room. I dialed 911 as quietly as I could, whispering my address. The dispatcher asked if I was safe. I told her I was in my locked bedroom. The footsteps stopped right outside my door. I heard the knob jiggle, then harder. I backed up against the wall, clutching my phone like it could protect me. The dispatcher's voice was steady. She told me officers were on the way, to stay quiet and not to open the door. All of a sudden, the knob stopped rattling. Silence. Then, from the other side of the door, a man's voice, low and breathy.
I know you're in here.
I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. Then, pounding. The door shook violently. I thought it would splinter. The dispatchers must have heard it through the phone, because she said, "They're almost there, hold on." And then, as quickly as it started, the pounding stopped. Then I heard the sound of running, and sound of the front door slamming open. Minutes later, sirens outside. Officers swept the house and found no one inside, but they did find marks on the front lock. Whoever it was, they had forced their way in. A week later, police arrested a man who had been breaking into homes in the area. He had a record: burglary, trespassing, and even assault. He was caught a few streets away, after another break-in attempt. Knowing he was caught should have brought relief, but even now I sleep with my bedroom door locked, and every time I hear footsteps in the hallway at night, I wonder if one day the lock won't be enough.